Hello. So today we are going to be doing our chapter 12, which is on salt. But before actually delving into our topic of salt, um, I'd like us to uh, remind ourselves of acids and bases, as this shall be of very great importance in our progress in salt, because acids and bases are basically the building blocks of salt. So we shall be using acids and bases most of the times when we're talking of salt. So I thought it'll be crucial to first revisit our topics on acids and bases. So before that as well, I'd like to introduce you to one special tool, a chemistry app, a very interesting chemistry app. You can find it on your Google Play Store if you are using Android. So it's written chemistry. So you can use the link, or you can just go to Google Play Store and type chemistry. When you see this app, just download it. It's only about 16 MBs. So it's a very interesting app because it makes our journey through chemistry a lot easier. For example, since in chemistry we deal so much with chemical equations, so our homepage right here allows us to just write some chemical equations, and then it'll calculate the elements we are adding together. For example, if we are adding let's add a very common let's do a very common reaction. So let's add some hydrogen, and hydrogen exists as a diatomic molecule, so it'll be H2. The 2 represents the subscript, so the 2 on your right side is the subscript, because there's no subscript notation here, so we'll take the 2 on the left of an element as a subscript. So this is a hydrogen molecule, and then let's react it with let's say oxygen. It's actually what happens in a rocket. So they react hydrogen and oxygen. So you only need to just add these two elements. So this app will actually calculate you the answer, and it will give you a series of possible reactions. So just tap this search icon, and you have a list of possible formulas. So the most common one we are familiar with, it's the second formula. They've interchanged the way you are used to, and instead of our arrow, they've used an equal sign, and that's understandable because these equations are these reactions are interchangeable. So in our second formula, we've got, let's start from the right side. We've got 2 molecules of hydrogen plus 1 molecule of oxygen. So this hydrogen and oxygen, it reacts to forms 2 molecules of hydrogen, 2 molecules of H2O. So it's 2 molecules of water, which means hydrogen plus oxygen forms water. And I like the fact that this app actually balances the equation by itself. So it's a very great app, and I'd recommend you download it right away. So let's do a more tricky chemical equation, something that we'll use during the course of this session. So let's react a let's react a metal and the water to see what we can get. So I'll do magnesium and magnesium and water. So Mg plus H2O. Remember, Mg contains a capital letter and a small letter. Be careful of your capitalization of your alphabet, because this is a programmed app. So one mistake, if you enter a small letter H, it won't understand what you're trying to say. So we are reacting magnesium plus water. So this is actually a reaction we are going to be dealing with during our session on salt. So magnesium plus water, what shall that give us? So it's magnesium plus 2 molecules of water. It'll give us a salt and a hydrogen gas. So don't worry about that, but I'm just illustrating the fact that this is a very great app. You can use it to just enter your chemicals. If you are unsure what's the if you are not sure what the product of your reactant, you could just use this app. It'll give you the product and it'll give you the resultant formula, which is a balanced equation. So it has more features. So right here we've got our periodic table, and it's a pretty detailed periodic table, because first of all we could see our key. We've got some alkali metals right here on our first column. We've got some alkaline earth metals on our second column. So we'll do the periodic table in detail when we get to our chapter on periodic tables. So it's a very great app. So this periodic table is actually interactive, because let's, for example, click on beryllium. So you could see it gives us the actual physical image of beryllium, and it gives us some kind of the structure of the atom of beryllium, and some information. I'm sure there's some information we could probably use. For example, the phase of matter, it is a solid, perhaps at room temperature. So okay, you could increase make your atom a lot bigger to view it. As you can see, it rotates. You can pause. So that's about our periodic table. Let's see a more complicated metal, like say silicon. So it gives us silicon, and it gives us our silicon atom. So it's a very great app, and I do recommend you to have it. So we have a table of solubility. So that's very useful, a very useful table in chemistry. This is a solubility series. So on the top, yes, the topmost anion is the most soluble, and then as you go downwards, it becomes less soluble. So I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's SiO3. So it's less soluble, so it's the least soluble. Yep. So, and we've got some molar masses. Okay, here you could just calculate, you could just enter any compound you like. For example, let's do a salt like say sodium hydroxide. So if you could calculate, it gives us the molar mass of 40, and you can see it also gives us the masses of sodium, oxygen, and hydrogen. So in previous chapters, you should have seen how to calculate the molar mass of any compound or molecule. So, but using this app, you just punch your compound or molecule, and it'll calculate for you everything. I don't actually recommend you to use this app during your class time, because you should be able to do these activities yourself. You should be able to calculate the molar mass of any compound yourself. But in cases of emergencies, or maybe in some cases you are calculating very large amounts of some compounds, so you could just punch your compounds right here, but it is very advisable to practice it yourself. Okay, so we do have some references. Okay, some of the concepts are higher chemistry, which you will come across in university, but one very important I shall try to reveal is the reactivity series. Okay, so we'll actually get into this on our topic on salt. So on our reactivity series, the topmost element is the most reactive. So cesium is the most reactive element, followed by rubidium, followed by all the elements under it, and then the least reactive element is platinum. The second least reactive is gold. So the arrows represent the order of reactivity. So we'll actually come to this reactivity series in a while. So okay, we do have our acid strength chart. So the strongest acid is hydrogen iodide. it has a pH of -10. That's possible. There are much worse pHs than this one. Actually, this hydrogen iodide is not the strongest acid available. There are some acids that could literally drill a hole on the ground. So that's why we've got some pretty odd numbers, some pretty strange numbers, like a pH of -10. That's possible. Okay, so what I want us to notice is the topmost acid is the strongest, so we'll actually use this as we are dealing with salt. Like I said, we'll first do our acid and bases. We'll first do the revision of acids and bases. So we'll use this acid strength chart. So as you go down, you reach some, okay, in our syllabus we just do with strong acid and weak acid. So we won't be actually delving into very strong, medium and weak acids. We'll just classify them as strong acids and weak acids. So this is their pHs. Actually, we have some bases right at the bottom because the pH is now greater than 7. So as you can see, between 6.92 and 7.92, that's the difference between our acid and a base. So from pH 7.12 we have bases all the way to the last one. So actually a strong base is the one at the bottom, and then a weak base is the one closer to 7. A strong acid is one further from 7, and then a weak acid is the one closer to 7. But we shall deal with this pretty soon. So I think that's it. Okay, we have some acids, anions and salts. So this is a very educative reference application. So we have some acids, some bases, I guess, and then some salt. So I recommend you download this app before we move on to our acids and bases session.